Indian Hindu, the Indian Christian, and the Indian Muslim. Religiously, three main groups. Racially, dozens of different kinds. Among the Hindus, dozens of different kinds. Among the Muslims, dozens of different kinds. Races. So these three main groups, if you tell there are three different types of religions. So there's an Indian Hindu, Indian Christian, Indian Muslim. And now, what is the main difference between the three? Actually, the guy is thinking that you are educating him. But this is how you brainwash people. You know, you program people. You make them to accept in a story form. You're telling the guy as if you're telling a story, as if you're educating the guy. He says, you know, there's an Indian Hindu, Indian Christian, Indian Muslim. What is the main difference between them? Yes and no. So he says, you see, the Indian Hindu, in his philosophy of religion, he believes in God's incarnates, meaning God coming down to earth as a man. That's the Hindu philosophy. And in that system of incarnation, God taking human form, they believe that Rama was the 7th incarnation of God. Krishna was the 8th incarnation of God. Buddha was the 9th incarnation of God. And they believe in endless incarnations. See, the Hindu reasons. And his logic is very good. His logic is very good. The Hindu. He's a very logical person. Give him that credit. He says that God Almighty is so pure, He's so holy, He's absolute holiness. We agree with him. Al-Quddus, the Holy One. This is one of His attributes in the Quran. He's Al-Quddus, the Holy One. So the Hindu also says His absolute holiness. He is like a holy robo. Now that holy robo, that's how he thinks now. What does he know? How man feels. Then, let's say he sees a beautiful young thing. What does he know how the man feels? Does he feel the way man feels? Probably not. Then say, what right has he to lay down rules for us? What does he know? Like somebody jokingly remarked about the Pope. Pope. See, the Pope made his pronouncement on the pill, birth control, pill. So somebody remarked that the guy who doesn't play the game, what right has he to lay down the rules? Does he play the games we play, the Pope? No. Then what right has he to tell us? Fertile period and infertile period, what the hell he knows about fertile and infertile. Similarly, the Hindu reasoned, he said, look, does God play the games we play? Probably not. Then what right has he to tell us? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. What does he know what is to covet? So to be qualified, he should come down to earth as a man. He's born like any other human child. And as he's growing up, somebody is playing fool with his mother in the absence of his father. And you know how he grades, how he feels. As he's growing up, somebody is playing fool with his sister. Now he knows how it feels. Now he's married, somebody wants to pinch his wife. Now he knows how it feels. So he's qualified. Now he's qualified to tell you, thou shalt not commit adultery, because he knows what adultery is. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, because now he knows what it is to covet. He's qualified. Now that is the Hindu idea for justification for incarnation, God becoming a man. The Christian, he says that before Jesus, God did not incarnate. After Jesus, he will not incarnate. He will not take human form. He is the only incarnation, meaning only time that God came down to earth as a man, he came in the form of Jesus Christ. What does the Muslim say? The Muslim says God does not incarnate at all. He doesn't become human at all. What does he do? He chooses a man from among men, one of us, flesh and blood in all respects. But that person is so finely attuned, he's so sincere to God, that whatever God Almighty commands him on a higher spiritual level, what we call revelation, the electromagnetic waves of the spiritual world, that person hears those signals, those messages, and he conveys them to us on our human level, sound wave. Thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. And you see, on our human level, we can understand what he's talking about. Such a person, we say, is a prophet of God. He's the mouthpiece of God. He's speaking the words of God, but he's not God. So the Hindu believes in many incarnations, the Christian believes in one incarnation, the Muslim believes in none incarnations. Now this is in a nutshell. See, the Muslim reasons that how can the Almighty, how can the ocean be contained in a bottle? The Almighty, in a little puny thing like you, this. No, this is the Muslim concept. He says, no, God does not become a man, and it is not necessary for God to become a man to understand the problem of man, because if logic is true, it's logical, but it's not true. If it is true, then God must become a monkey to understand the problem of a monkey. He must become a donkey to understand the problem of a donkey. He must become a cockroach to understand the problem of a cockroach. What kind of a God is this? He says, no, the Creator knows what He has made. If you made the table, you know what the table is. You don't have to become a table to understand a table. If you made the beetle Volkswagen outside, you don't have to become a beetle Volkswagen to understand a Volkswagen. The Maker knows what He has made. If God made us, He knows, and as such He is qualified, and He has the authority to dictate to you, to tell you how this machine ought to behave. He has a right to give you instructions. He doesn't have to become a man to understand the problem of man. Now about 100 years ago, you know, when we came to this country, the average Indian was 80% Hindu, 20% Muslim, and 1% Christian. So when I had these Hindus getting into the car, I present this to them. I said, you know, when we came, our forefathers, 100 years ago, this was our average ratio of our people. But I said, today, you know what? The Muslim is still 20% of the Indian population. In other words, if we lost half a dozen, we might have gained a dozen. Overall, the average remained the same. But the Christian has jumped from 1 to 17% in the Indian community. 1 to 17. So I'm asking, where did the other 16% come from? In a flying saucer? From outer space? No. He agrees quickly. He says, no, it's from the Hindu. So the question arises, why is it that the Hindu is getting converted and the Muslim is not getting converted? Not in total. I mean, we can also lose our sons and daughters, which we are. You see? But if we lost half a dozen, we might have gained a dozen. So overall, the average has still remained the same. But the Hindu has been reduced by 16% in the past 50 years, not 100 years. Because most of this propagation work among the Indians has been done by the Christians in the past 50 years. They lost 16% of the people. And at this rate, in 1,000 years, there will be, the Hindu will be a museum thing, museum piece. If you come across a person, your grandchildren, you say, what church you belong to? It's a Hindu, sir. Hindu. This is what's going to happen. Because at the rate at which they are losing, it will be like something should be in a museum. So what are you doing there? So the question is, how is it that the Hindu is getting converted wholesale and the Muslim is not? And he knows that. So look, we are not saying, we're not denying that we could have lost our sons and daughters. The young man wanted to show his father a point, or he met a Christian woman and somehow he went head over heels. These things can happen. Or sometimes people can be brainwashed, or mixed marriages. We married non-Muslim women for the marriage of convenience. We converted the woman, and she was neither here nor there. She was neither fish nor fowl, and the marriage broke up, and your Muhammads and your Fatimas and your Khadijas gone back again with the mother to the church and Christianized. It's happening again and again. We are losing thousands that way. This marrying, outside Islam. You marry a colored woman, beautiful thing. Right, and the marriage doesn't work out. Look, among ourselves, there are times when marriages don't work out. And there are more chances of the marriages breaking if the woman is from the other side. Culturally, her stance from everything is different. She's used to jiving and, going around with this guy and that guy, half a dozen guys. She has experience, and now you think, now you got everybody's chewed bones, now you put it around your neck, make a garland out of it, and the garland doesn't work. So, where do your children go? Back again. She goes back to her aunties, her grannies, and your little ones, she's going to church, they also go to church. So we have been losing that way, you see. But as a people, as a whole, we are immune to conversion, as a whole. So what makes it that the Hindu is getting converted and the Muslim not? So he